All right, going live in 3, 2, 1. Well, this is Soaking Up Spilled Ink with Rachel. We're up to episode number 12. Is that right, Rachel? Do I have that right? Is it number 12?
I honestly not sure. I think that sounds right. I think we were on 11 last time, right? So
Yeah,
12 should be right.
I sorry, it's just my forgetfulness. I absent-mindedness. So yeah, I just want to make sure it was what we were on the right episode. Once in a while, I put the wrong one in there, but I think I got it right this time. So cool. So how are you doing this evening? Anything going on in the world of Rachel that our viewers would like to know?
I'm doing pretty well. Just been kind of busy. Nothing too excited that I think people want to know about. So,
Okay. Well, did that last storm hit you? I think it was one on Friday. Was it pretty bad? There's a icy or something like that. How did
it
that
was
work?
supposed to be kind of icy, but it was a little bit, but I mean, schools were all closed and stuff, and I didn't go anywhere, so it didn't really affect me too much. And the roads honestly didn't look too bad on Friday, even though they did close down like all of the um, schools and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't seem
Okay.
too
Well, that's good.
terrible. Didn't lose
No,
power or anything, so that's good.
yeah. No, did we talk about what happened in Florida a couple of weeks ago where the iguanas were falling from the trees?
Oh, I don't know if we talked about it, but I know that's a thing. They get cold and they fall out of the trees.
Yeah, it got so cold in Florida recently during there was people were reporting how they were falling out of the trees. So, and other people I told it to, they were like, oh, they were like afraid that they were going to get hurt. And I was told that, well, not to worry about it because they're used to it. They just fall out of trees and their bodies are, I guess, designed to handle it. And it was going to be
Hmm.
okay because it's going to be warm within a day anyway. So it wasn't too big of a deal. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, before we go too far, for those who'd like to help support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link in the description for NordVPN. It's a pretty good service. I've used it in the past to basically hide my location for protecting my identity. I've definitely done all of that, and several people have told me, though I've not tried it myself, that you can stream shows from around the world. And you can make it look like you're from a different part of the world and watch those streaming shows that would normally be blocked if you're in a certain part of the country or a certain part of the world,
Yes,
I should say.
I have done
So,
that myself many times.
and would you say it works pretty well
Oh
as far as
yeah, it
that goes?
definitely works. It works pretty well. I'm assuming that streaming companies have different licenses with different countries, and if using a VPN, those don't matter. You can just select which country and watch what they've got there.
Now, one of the things I have heard is that I don't know if it's still the case, but Germany used to have a major thing about copyright. They would block a lot of videos, and I'd have like
Mm.
my viewers would say that my videos were actually blocked in Germany because of some of the
Oh,
music that's playing in the background. Not the games footage, but just the music that was in the background that would get blocked, and other people weren't getting blocked. It was really weird. I'm wondering if it's Germany. I would like to hear from someone from Germany to hear if they could, if they see how good it is for for getting stuff outside of that country. So it's just only because it was so restricted back then. And I don't know if it's
yeah.
still the same. That was about like 5 to 10 years ago, so it might have changed for all I know. So, but so we
Yeah, I'm
got
not sure.
OD's on. Hi there. Good evening. Don't forget to say
Good
hi
evening
to Rachel.
there.
Here we
Oh,
go.
sort of a UFO
There
thing.
you go.
Yeah, it's a Star Trek ship there. I'm not sure if that's the Enterprise, but it's something.
Yep,
NER, it looks like it says. Is that the Enterprise? I never want to
that's
say
it.
all of those ships are the Enterprise because, they're not, but no, I'm pretty sure that one is.
It is. If technically I can't read the registry number on it, but most likely it is the Enterprise. So it could be another ship that looks like it that has a different registry number. But yeah, it looks like the
Right.
Enterprise. So
Yeah.
at the very least, you could say it's the same ship design for sure. How's that?
Yeah. There you go. There we go.
So before we go too far, yeah, NordVPN. The link is in the description. So if you'd like to support us, you can click on that. And also, Rachel you have your group as well. I'm sorry, I don't know how
Yes.
to describe it.
It's a nonprofit organization. So it's a nonprofit organization called Literacy Connections of the Hudson Valley. We recruit volunteers to teach adults how to read and write, and to teach people English if they've just moved here or for whatever reason have been here for a while and haven't had the opportunity. All our services are entirely free, and we rely on volunteers and donations. And so if you want to check us out, if you live in the Hudson Valley area, you can volunteer to be a tutor. If you need our services as a student, you can check us out for that as well. And we are always looking for any kind of donation if you have it. Anything helps. You can even check us out on social media and share our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, things like that. Any little thing that you can do helps.
Right. And for everyone who's wondering, that there's a link in the description. The NordVPN link is at the top, and then Literacy Connections is just below that. It has a complete description about what Rachel just described. So, and as far as, well, I'm just curious. Let me do this real quick. Because I wanted to do this last. I think we did do this last week. Maybe not. I don't know. We did it live.
I'm not sure what you're doing.
Here we go. We're here right now. So tell me if we did this. Well, I know we kind of did this.
I don't see anything. So
I know.
There it goes. There it goes.
Yeah. So did we show? Did we bring? I know we brought the website for you and I, but did we show it to our viewers?
I'm not sure if we did. I'm not sure. So you can see all about our programs and services and things like that. And this is some of our volunteers, along with one of our co-workers there in the green sweater. But yeah, this is our website, Literacy Connections of the Hudson Valley. So if you are in the Hudson Valley area of New York, definitely look us up. If you're not in the Hudson Valley area of New York and you can afford to donate, there's that bright yellow donate button right at the top. Or you can select us as your charity on Amazon Smiles. Just go to, I'm pretty sure it's smile.amazon.com and purchase as normal. And if you select, and the charity that you select will get a donation from you as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, the link in the description for that is all down in there's the description of what Rachel is saying is in the video description as well. So I'm using the word description twice. So just click on that and it'll take you right to it. So, all right, cool.
Awesome.
Alrighty. So let's see. What was our question? I should look this up already. What was our question for last week? Do you remember?
Our question for last week. No, I don't remember.
Okay. Hold a second.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we have two questions? Hold on a second. Let's see. I'm looking it up right now. What was last week? Last week was the February 2nd. So I'm looking it up right now. It looks like we had two questions that day. No, just one. I'm sorry.
No, it should be. I don't think we asked.
Do you like spicy food?
Oh, right. Spicy food, because of the spicy food episode of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, here we go. Give me a second here. I'll have it up in a second. And I guess I have too many windows, so forgive me here. So there we go. So nice response. 1,700 votes. That's pretty good.
It's really interesting. I honestly thought more people would like spice, but no.
Oh, wow, you're right. Actually, you know what? When I looked at that at a glance, I thought the top response was you like spice. I forgot we put no. So
no, top burn is no.
Spicy. What's the spiciest food you've ever eaten? And overwhelmingly, no spice at all. 50%.
I know, that's so surprising to me. Huh? I really thought that people would be more open to spice.
Yeah. 22% with medium, 18% with hot as possible, and 10% with mild. That's I what did I say? I think I said I would go. It depends on the kind of food, I think is what I said. Is that what I said last week? I think so.
Yeah.
And it depends on my mood as well. Sometimes I may just not be in the mood for it. So maybe some people are just not in the mood when they answer the question. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see what some hot stuff people have eaten here.
I go down here.
All right. So, not a type of enjoying them, because that'll literally make me go back and forth to the bathroom. But if it's about my mom is a hot food enthusiast. Want everything as spicy as possible. I despise hot food when I was a kid. But if I didn't finish my food, my parents would put chili sauce on it. Oh God, that's horrible.
That would make you hate it, though, I guess.
Maybe that would make it worse. So much worse. Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scotch bonnet peppers.
Yeah,
Uh,
on its own. My goodness. What is that on the Scoville scale? I wonder. Let's see.
never heard of them.
I
Scotch bonnet.
have. Mm-hmm. Bonnet. Let's
I
see.
get it.
On the Scoville. Oh, 350,000 units on the Scoville. Jeezy Pete's. Okay, that
Oh,
is hot. That's kind of hot.
you're gonna
Okay.
just tell me what does that mean by Scoville? Is that what you
So
said? I'm not
it's the
sure.
Scoville unit is what they use to measure heat, and a Scotch bonnet pepper is 100 to 350,000 Scoville units. And so let me get like comparison. Let's see, Scoville. So the
Well,
Scoville scale is like, yeah, so those
well,
are the little Scotch bonnet peppers. So I've seen them before. So like a bell pepper is like hits a 0. Scotch bonnet is about in the middle. So a jalapeno only hits 5,000 on the Scoville. Oh, yeah, 5,000. Cayenne peppers by themselves are about 50,000. Bird's eye chilies are around 100,000. Habanero, 150,000. So these Scotch bonnets are between 100,000 and 350,000. And I don't even know what this one's called, but it's resinfuratoxin is 15 million. If I'm no, that looks like billion. What is that? Found in resin, a native plant. Oh, it's a native plant of Morocco. You would probably die if you tried to eat that.
this,
Pepper spray is only 5 million.
hmm,
Yeah, this
almost
is
like
15 billion. Is that that's a
1 billion.
natural plant? Gee
Wow.
whiz.
So it's not like through selective breeding or anything like that, where human beings have tried to make it work more, make it more spicy in some way. I don't know. Can you
Yeah,
do
I
that with?
guess not. I don't know.
See,
I'm
like
trying to type it in here.
we got I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Sorry.
Hi, Mud
Izumu.
Atif.
And Sherry
Hi.
says ghost pepper.
Ghost peppers. Ghost peppers hit. Where are they? I thought ghost pepper was on here. I don't see ghost pepper on this list specifically, so I'll have to look and see what they hit on Scoville. I think the Scotch bonnets are hotter than the ghost.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I would want to have something you said in the billions. I don't think I would even try that. Sorry, that's a little too much.
I'm pretty sure you probably can't. So I sent you the word
Oh,
resin for a toxin. I don't know what. I mean, I can't imagine. Is it like a plant? Is it like a?
there you go.
Oh, I guess it's from a cactus. Look
Oh
at
yeah,
that.
look at that. Yeah,
Wow.
interesting.
So yeah, apparently, I imagine if you eat that, you die. You die. There's no way to like eat that and survive.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. I don't think that doesn't look that tasty to begin with. I
Yeah,
don't think I'll be biting into a
like
cactus
between
anytime
15 and 16 billion on the Scoville. Oh my goodness.
soon. Yeah, that's not
I
really
wonder if
appetizing.
anybody's even tried.
Yeah, if someone has, let us know. I'd like to know.
I doubt it. Oh man,
Let's
that's
see.
got to be crazy.
So let's go back. Mr. Professional says the
Uh,
spiciest food I've ever
oh nope.
had was jalapeno peppers.
Oh, okay, jalapenos. Not bad, not bad. Ooh, scorpion pepper chicken wings. Okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
A whole spoonful of one fin drop at a time. About a year ago, I ate a whole pound of ghost chili wings and I enjoyed them, but they hit the eject tunnel on my face real quick. That's terrible. The hottest thing I've ever
Before you get too far,
um
yeah,
uh-huh.
before I had spicy like what do you call it, Pepperidge Farm fish. You ever seen those the Pepperidge Farm fish, the little bags that come in? You ever seen those? The
Like Pepperidge Farm fish?
is that who makes
Like
them?
goldfish? Oh, like just like a goldfish in a bag?
Yeah, the goldfish bags. Yeah, they're
Okay.
not real
Oh,
fish.
I
They're
have
like
no idea if they're Pepperidge Farm. I've never noticed any other label than goldfish, so they could be.
uh, they made a spicy version, and I bought it just for how.
Oh,
But
just for
I
Haas.
just for fun. What happened was when I got to work, I ended up eating them. I ended up throwing up over and over and over, and I never bought them again. So I I felt like crap. I was like I had to lay in the back of the. I was Fortunately, it was a small radio brokerage service where we send out radio feeds to satellites. And fortunately, it was just me and one other guy, so I was in the back, and I was just laying down. I just couldn't do anything. I just kept on throwing up
Mhm.
water over and over. I drank water, it just came back out. It was awful.
Wow.
My body just could not take. I don't know what there was in them, but I obviously I'll never eat them again. So
Wow, yeah. Okay, so I did just look it up, that super hot thing, the resin for a toxin. You can't actually eat that. It will burn your insides and kill you.
oh, okay.
So you can't actually eat it.
Gotcha. That answers that question. So
Yeah. Literally burns your insides. All right, we got Andrew here. The hottest thing I've ever eaten was probably Paquis ghost pepper chips. Eat about 5 of them and your mouth is in a world of hurt. Delicious but painful. Uh, I effing love spicy foods. They're like when my daughter is shouting, ew, I don't want it. No, I'm not going to read that.
yeah, no,
Gross.
sorry about that.
Okay. Somtum Thai papaya salad with 20 chilies. A Thai papaya salad sounds really good. Spicy papaya salad. Kiss best fan medium, although since sometime I do not eat spicy stuff at all. Okay. Somebody said I ate a ghost pepper, spelled pepper wrong, and then corrected it above themselves.
Yes.
Ooh, once ate a Carolina Reaper, one of the hottest chili peppers. Very cool.
I've never heard of
Yeah.
that. Carolina Reaper. I mean, the name
Yeah.
sounds like you're gonna die. Just by
Yeah, let's see. I don't remember. I've definitely heard of them as well. I've heard of that. I'm pretty sure I bought that hot sauce for my
oh,
mom.
oh
Carolina
goodness,
Reaper hot sauce.
look at that! Oh my goodness! Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks deadly. Just
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Carolina Reaper. Ooh, yeah. Carolina Reaper is at a 2.2 million on the Scoville.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I
So
don't think I'm gonna touch that. Sorry.
yeah, no, that's a eight. Yeah, and that person ate the whole thing, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
And OD from last week says I like spicy that doesn't replace the dish's original flavor. So a little bit of pepper is okay. So I like that too. When the spicy taste doesn't replace the flavor, it just kind of enhances it. I don't mind more heat than a little bit of pepper because I do like heat, but not like so it overpowers the whole flavor and you can't taste the food anymore.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's where I land on that.
If it gets too hot, I wouldn't want hot as possible for sure. Definitely not.
Mhm.
So, but I do. I used to eat Popeye's chicken. They used to have a spicy chicken flavor. I used to eat that. So, um, and then occasionally I do get. I eat chicken like almost every day, and then like
Mhm.
the place where I get it at this supermarket where I get it. Sometimes I accidentally get the spicy chicken, and it's like, oh, this tastes pretty good. So it's mild spice, not too much, but not too hot, not too, it's, you can definitely taste it. So it's not too bad. So
Mm.
it's one of those little surprises when I bring it home and I realize it's, oh, this has got the spice in it. It's like, it's just a little bit of a treat for me. So I enjoy it when I actually get it. So,
Okay.
alrighty. So thank you everybody for participating in that. We really appreciate that. And that's, like I said, that's pretty decent amount, 1,700 votes. So, so we had a question. You and I were discussing this before we went live. We were trying to figure out how to phrase this question. So
Yeah. So the question I was kind of asking, so this is kind of like the episode we're going to go over of the Star Trek TNG, The Next Generation here is kind of a trope episode, it's like a I don't know what they're called exactly. I can think of just like a special episode, a trope episode is what it's kind of called. So this episode is it's kind of um where the character is taken out of their life and has something convince them that that life was fake and this life is real. So like there's an episode of Buffy where it happens, there's an episode of Supernatural where it happens, and this is an episode where it happens to Picard. So I'm not sure what this is called exactly. I can't, but I know there's like different types of TV tropes. I don't know what this type of trope would be called specifically.
okay.
But there are like flashback episodes, there's bottle episodes, there's like filler episodes aren't all that exciting. Um, but I can't really think of more than that, and I'm trying to like look things up, and I can't seem to find what I'm trying to think of. Okay,
Well,
so here we have here it is, like a girls' night out episode, a crossover episode where they cross over with another one, a musical episode. Lots of television shows have done musical episodes. Um, yeah, so like let's see, parody episodes, stunts, different things like that. So I wish I knew the name for this type of episode, but I really don't. Have you ever heard of anything like that for
I,
this type
I
of episode?
I don't know. I've heard of the show, but I don't know the specific name or how you would describe it or trope. I would not know that. Sorry.
Yeah. I've been trying to find it, but I can't. So if anybody happens to know like what this type of episode would be called, that would be super helpful. I mean, I guess it's like in Supernatural and Buffy, it's basically like they wake up from their superhero lifestyle and they're like in a mental hospital and they're just a normal kid and they don't actually fight demons and monsters and stuff, and everybody's trying to convince them that that life didn't actually happen. And
Mhm.
that's kind of what happens in this. He, wakes up in a normal life on a normal planet, and the his life as a starship captain, they're trying to convince him that wasn't real. So it
Well,
happens quite
that's
a lot.
not exact. That's they're not saying it was. They never said that. They were just saying they were trying to convince him that he had lived another life. They never tried to convince him otherwise that his other life wasn't real.
Well,
They
yeah, I mean, they tried to tell him it was a fever dream.
Yeah, but they never denied that what had happened to him that his real life didn't exist though. They just kind of humored him, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
So they
yeah.
were not they didn't outright say no, that didn't happen is what I'm saying. So to him. So because
Mhm.
we can get that into as we talk about the other because there's a
Yeah,
scene in
yeah.
the episode where the woman that he eventually marries in that alternate
Yeah,
reality, she talks about how you're still looking for that ship of yours or something like that.
right, right.
So yeah, so there's but yeah, we can talk about that when we get to it. But yeah,
Mhm.
so and you're right. I don't know what would you like to say? Would you like to say what is your favorite kind of television trope, maybe, or something to
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I guess so. And just wish we knew what this kind of one would be called, but
Yeah.
like there's so many different ones. My favorite is a bottle episode, to be honest.
And could
Um
you explain it to our fans too? Because I do
yes.
you had to explain it to me too. So
So the bottle episode is where all of the characters are stuck in one room for one reason or another. So like they've done it on a bunch of episodes. Like there's an episode of Scrubs, there's an episode of Community, even Archer. Like it's all of the characters are stuck in one room for some reason, and that's when they call it a bottle episode. I think that's creative for the reasons that it's really heavily relied on the writing, because there's no sets to jump between, there's not a lot of stuff going on around them, they're all stuck in one place. And it's just basically it's a lot of conversation that has to happen. And I always think if you can pull off a bottle episode really well, then that's awesome.
okay, so we'll put that as the first one. How's that?
Yeah, bottle
Episode.
episode. I just wish I knew. I mean,
I know it's
we
frustrating, isn't
can
it?
make it up
Yeah,
and
you want
then like explain it. So what would you call this kind of thing?
to.
Because like I said, it's not exclusive to Star Trek. It's been done in other shows as well.
Yeah.
Um, hmm.
Okay. Hmm. Um.
Alternate reality, maybe?
eh,
Yeah, it's kind of an alternate reality, right?
Kind of. Yeah. Another life experience is what I'm thinking of. Like, so
Oh, that
you're
works too. Yeah, another life experience, that works too.
yeah. I'll say, how about alternate life experience? We can combine the
There you
two.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Um, let's see. I saw a few good ones. A musical episode. That's always a good one to list.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. Who's I was Drew Carey show. I think he used to do a lot of musical episodes once in a while.
Mm.
I've been watching him in a while. So, um, what was the other ones you said that did that?
Um, that did what? The musical episodes? Lots of
Yeah.
shows. Like Scrubs has a musical episode. Buffy has a musical episode. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
Supernatural got there eventually.
I never
Um,
I never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I didn't know they did a musical. That's interesting.
they
That's really
did,
interesting.
yeah.
Wow,
It's
that's funny.
some people hate it. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Um, and um, I like when musical episodes are written like correctly because like it can't just be out of nowhere for no reason. Like in Buffy, they got cursed to have to sing on their feelings. In Scrubs, they this woman had a tumor, so she was hearing everybody sing. So only when this woman was in the room were people singing. So like it wasn't nobody was singing when she wasn't around. It was only when this woman was around that everybody was singing. It was because she had a brain tumor. And then like I don't know, a bunch of other shows have done it for a lot less reasons.
Okay.
um
Oh, you know what? Oh, I see what I did. Oh, look at the top. Let's take this out of here. Sorry.
oh
I was wondering why the word bottle episode wasn't typing before. Okay, there we go. Yeah,
let's
the
see. Yeah,
getting
crossover
back,
episodes, and
yeah,
then we can add like favorites and stuff.
sure. The just getting back to the Drew Carey show. The only reason I brought that up is because in that episode they did a musical rendition or musical score scene for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So,
Oh.
and I was back in the 80s. I was a big Rocky Horror Picture Show fan. I saw it 40 times at the theater.
Oh
So,
wow, that's awesome.
so for those who don't know, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is a participation movie where you go in and you actually shout lines at the movie while it's going on. You throw things and toilet paper. You have a lighter. You have to
Toast.
Toast, exactly. Yeah,
Don't forget the
everything. Yeah.
toast.
Yes. So so it was fun to see him do his little tribute to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So what was that crossover episode? What crossover? What exactly is a crossover episode?
Crossover episode is where two shows cross over. So like
that kind of thing.
New
Yes.
Girl and Brooklyn Nine-Nine have a crossover episode, a few others do. And
Okay.
I would say for the last option, add your own.
Andrew. Okay.
Because there's like a million of them. So we'll see if people we'll see what people say here. But yeah, my favorite is your choice. Yeah. My favorite I think is a bottle episode, to be honest. I don't know. I just think the writing has to be really strong to have, because the episode is focused entirely on the characters in this one room. So you don't get to change locations. You don't get to do any of this kind of stuff. You just have to focus on what's being said. And I don't know. I just always enjoy them.
Okay. I honestly, I can't think of one that would be a favorite trope. I can just think of specific episodes that I like. So, I mean, I can't. So I can't.
Oh,
I can't
alternate. You're missing the I in alternate life experience. Life has no I for.
Oh.
No, not there. In life.
Yes. No, there's no I in there. Oh, I can't see it. Sorry. Thank you for pointing.
No, you're good. I was zoomed in to make sure we were all good.
Right. I keep on saying I need to get reading glasses, and I know this monitor is the furthest one from where I'm sitting right now, so that's my excuse. So, look, I'm gonna go ahead and post it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Cool. All right, so we'll come back to that. All right, so this episode of Star Trek Next Generation is something that you had never seen the show before, or had you seen it?
I've seen random episodes and I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never watched the whole thing.
Okay. So as far as you knew who the characters were when you saw this, when you watched this?
I knew who Picard was and Data, and that's about it.
Yeah, those are the two main. Yeah, but everyone, for people who are not as familiar with the show, those are the two that usually pop out the most. They're the most well-known characters. So
the guy with the thing on the visor thing as well.
Jordy.
Yes. Yeah.
Played by LeVar Burton. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, LeVar Burton, and then
there's a little bit of trivia on Jordy LaForge. His name was actually chosen because of a fan of the show. I think the fan might have been he might have been suffering from something. I don't know what it was. Like he had some sort of debilitating disease or something, and he was a big fan of the show. So when the show came out, they named that character after him. So it's not his actual name, but it's a variation of his name. I don't know what his actual name was. So, but Let's see,
Cool.
I'll bring it up right now so we can take a look at it. So, alrighty. So a little bit of trivia as well. When the show begins, there's the little lines of exposition. Captain Picard will come on and say start date, blah, 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 blah. Okay. When he gives the start date, in case you're wondering, it's always a 5-digit number. And in universe, it doesn't really, it's just a series of numbers out of the universe. From the viewer's perspective, though, it has a meaning. So this does not have the same meaning for the characters as it does for you and I, the viewer. It means the first digit is 4, and that stands for 24th century. The second digit is the season. So if this one is 4 or 5, and then the last 3 numbers are just the number, the succession of how it ran in that season. So if it's a lower number like 4 or 5 and then 1, 2, 4 or something, that means it was earlier in the season. If it's later in the season, it'll be closer to 900 something. So
okay, interesting.
So just for a little bit of trivia, in case you're wondering if you're ever watching a show, except the first season doesn't really work out that well because they kind of made the shows out of they ran them out of sequence, or they scheduled them out of sequence or something. So the numbers don't always, it'll say 4 and 1 for 24th century and for a season, but the last 3 numbers don't always line up correctly. That's the only season it doesn't work with, though. So
interesting. Okay.
So here we go. Come on, we got Captain Picard. There's Jordy in the background. There's Data. You mentioned him, and then this is the character right here. That's Worf, the only Klingon on the ship. And then the character that was in this is Commander Riker, who is right. Just saw him there. He's the one with the beard.
So, right. And then and then the Doctor comes in a second as well.
Yes, the Doctor is. And the Doctor, Beverly Crusher, I
know Wesley Crusher mainly because of my love of what's his face that plays Wesley Crusher, and his name just vanished from my brain. And Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
I love Will Wheaton. Yes.
Oh really? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
He was in Will Wheaton was in was that Stand By Me, that movie from the and I'm trying to think what else he's been in.
He does a lot of nerd stuff, and Wesley Crusher.
He's also in, just a little bit of trivia for people who are fans of the games on my channel. He was also in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So he played one of the people on the radio. He plays one of the reporters on the news station. He actually comes on and does some news reports. So.
Yeah, he does a lot of voiceover stuff, actually.
Yeah, they picked him because he was such a big fan of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So when San Andreas, which was the game that came out following, they asked him to come on board and make like a cameo type appearance. So for that. Alrighty. So the show starts off. They encounter a probe, which is that little object out there. Oh, oops. I think it's hard to stop. It really is.
It's really hard to get there. Right. There it is.
Yeah. So
little probe looking thing.
And the probe is, they don't know what it is. And as it comes in, it locks in to Picard. And as the show progresses, we learn that the probe is sent from a planet that is their technology level is nowhere near the sophistication as the Enterprise. So there's a lot of questions that are raised as to how a society that is so nowhere near as advanced as the Federation can create a probe that can lock onto someone's mind and they can't disable it. So
no, that's real interesting how they set that up, and they couldn't set up a rocket to get off the planet.
Right. So you got to overlook these kind of little simple things. It's there because the plot needs it to be there. So
different kinds of technology advance in different ways in different societies. There you go.
That's true, because there were several Native American cultures that were very advanced, but no Native American culture ever developed the wheel. That's a fact. So that doesn't mean they weren't less sophisticated. They just never developed the wheel. So
they didn't need it. They found other ways to work.
Yes. So you're right. So you can always argue. Yeah, it's a very valid argument. Some cultures advanced other ways, in certain ways, and others in others. So,
and then he wakes up and he's in a whole other life.
Yes. So he walks in, he doesn't know who he's at. Now the first thing he says computer end program. I don't know if you caught that.
Right. Yeah.
So basically he's
assuming he's in like a holodeck or something.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you know what that is. Okay. I wasn't sure. For those who most people who have watched the show will know that, obviously will know what that is. But yeah,
Mhm.
he's thinking maybe he's in a holodeck simulation. He's trying to get it to shut off. So, or
Yeah.
maybe that he's not exactly sure what's going on. So maybe he just starts throwing that out. Then he jumps up and he starts talking like he's trying to like communicate with people, like he's in Picard to whoever, I forget who he calls out to. So
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember who he calls out to exactly, but yeah, he's trying to figure out like end program, computer, where am I? Like what's happening? He tries to call the Enterprise and she's like, you just need to rest. You've had a fever for over a week. You just need to rest, take it slow, calm down.
Mhm.
And then yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is the probe is locked onto him, and we're obviously we're not really giving anything away because we're reviewing the show. I mean, we are giving it
Yeah.
away. So those who are watching it, we're going to be talking about the whole thing. So if you don't want to know,
Yeah.
you have to
I
watch the
mean, we
episode.
usually do.
Yeah.
Assume
So
you've watched the episode before we talk about it.
so the probe is going to make him live the life of another person, and as he's doing so, he also knows who he is, but he also assumes the life of that person. So he's like
Mhm.
almost assuming a dual
It
role.
takes him a while, though. It takes him like 5 years to like accept that this is his life now.
Right, right. But
But
he doesn't.
also, like, to be honest, I feel like this is so rude. Like, make this man like have a whole life, have a family, and watch his family die just so that your civilization lives on. Like, that's mean. That's real
I,
mean.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up eventually. The several people after the show came out complained about that, and this
It's
I will say
horrible.
before we go too far, this is actually considered one of the best Star Trek Next Generation episodes ever made. So in case you're wondering, it was the first one to win a Hugo Award as well. So
Really? Gee
the
whiz.
but what I was leading up to was what you said. There was a lot of people that complained about that. It, like you said, hijacked his life, took him away, and and the Ronald D. Moore, who I consider to be a pretty good writer. Sometimes he's kind of, I don't know, he kind of goes off in weird directions for me, but he's for the most part he is a pretty good writer. He
Mhm.
came he responded to those complaints and said, "Yeah, that's right. We weren't thinking about that long term. We were thinking about the short term. The idea that the episode is not really about that, but rather about the fact that Picard is growing. It's a way for Picard to grow in this episode. That's what they were
Yeah,
focused.
grow for 50 years and die and watch his wife die. I feel like that's still terrible.
Yeah,
Like,
he
could he
admitted
not
it
have
was.
growth without such horrible loss? That's so mean.
Yeah, he admitted it was, but he did, but he wasn't. He just wasn't thinking about when they wrote this story. And that's the problem with Ronald D. Moore, is that he's a good writer sometimes, but he doesn't think things through sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they could
And
have, they might have been able to maybe, I don't know how they could have corrected that. I don't know how would you correct something like that in a story. I don't know how you would correct that.
I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe he could have only lived there for like a little while, but I get the point is for him to be immersed completely. And I think honestly, the way would to have done it would have been for someone to volunteer to do this. Like, it's gonna feel like you've lived a whole life. It's only gonna be 25 minutes, but you have to fully immerse yourself. Do you accept the terms of this arrangement? Yes or no? Because I
Mhm.
feel like some scientific mind would be like, yes, I will absolutely agree to this. But like to force it onto somebody, that's just, oof, that's
Yeah.
rough.
And the another complaint about that is it was Picard. What if it had been somebody who didn't care? But Picard, the writers chose Picard because Picard respects history. He respects cultures, different cultures. They've shown that throughout the series that he has a tremendous respect for
Hmm.
different things. But what if it was somebody who didn't give a damn? So
Right, right.
so
I
he's like
mean,
stuck in.
and then they give him the flute. Like, come on. Just so terrible.
And then the other thing that was pointed out was oh sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'll remember it. Sorry. But yeah, the as far as the uh him being trapped there, uh what we can I've lost my train of thought, sorry. But but yeah, you're right. It was brought up as a complaint. Oh, and Ron Moore basically had no way of, I'm doubling back a little bit, but basically had no real way the explanation is to get out of it. He said he was just trying to make this was just an episode to help Picard grow as a person. They weren't thinking in that, like I said, and long term kind of a thing. So,
Right. No, but
oh,
I mean, I get it at all, but I just wish he had a choice of like, do you want to help this civilization, yes or no? Because like I feel like if he is all of that you've said, that he respects civilizations, he respects like he's interested in history and stuff, like I feel like he might have went into it willingly. I just feel like he should have been given a choice rather than like, this is your life now. And this is how you exist. You have a wife, you have kids, you have grandkids. Now they're dead, and now you're dead. And oh, it was all just a dream
yeah.
of what our civilization used to be. Just kidding. You didn't actually have any of that. Like, it was, I don't know, it felt so rude.
And the other two elements that about it was that it's in later episodes, it's never really brought up ever again, except for the flute. He never talks about it ever again.
Yeah, so,
And
like, that wasn't even the point of the whole probe. They wanted somebody to remember them and, like, share their experiences and, like, have people know about them so they could live on, not just live on in one dude. And, like, I was gonna ask you if he, like, keeps the flute and, like, you see it in other episodes and stuff, but, like, I feel like I don't even know if this is, like, a thing in Star Trek time, but it probably could be where they can extract the memory and, like, put it in a museum or something.
they do the flute is brought up at least one other time, and it's very personal to him. So he does bring
Well,
up
yeah.
in
He
an
had a whole
episode where he,
family that died, and all he has left is a flute.
yeah. So the episode, in fact, the episode is I forget the name of the episode, but there's a crew member that comes on board and he has a romantic relationship with the woman that comes on board, and
Mhm.
she's a pianist, she plays the piano, and he brings his flute in so they can, and basically he shares it with her and he talks about how meaningful the flute is, but he doesn't say why it's meaningful. So it is brought up again.
Yeah, so, like, I honestly like the writing in this was really good. Having him care about it was really good. You can see his character growth and everything. I don't like the fact that you're telling me he never like brings it up again. So like I get that it was like a painful thing to him, but like the whole point of this probe was so that people would know about this civilization and it wouldn't have, died without anybody knowing anything about it. And the fact that you say that nobody knows anything about it anymore. It's not great.
Right. So, and I
Yeah.
will say one more thing. In a later series called Star Trek Deep Space Nine, they did
Mhm.
something very similar, where one of the main characters, the character's name was O'Brien, he was brought up on charges and put in prison. And instead of what they did was he was in prison for like 5 minutes, but they made it seem like this. He lived 20 years
Mm.
in like a virtual prison for 20 years. So he came out of it suffering from like the trauma of being sent in a prison, which never happened. So
Ugh.
they dealt with that one a little bit better, I think, as far as how
Mhm.
the repercussions of what his life was like afterwards. So
Right.
that was handled a little bit better. And but this year, yeah, but they did deal with a similar storyline later on. I think, and Mike and Ronald D. Moore also was part of that show as well. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. So yeah, we're getting past all that. If you can ignore the fact that they kind of ruined his life in a way,
Yeah.
because
They kind of did. Like, he just take
yeah,
advantage of his mind and put him in this whole other world and so he has to watch his best friend die, his wife die. He knows his grandson doesn't get a life and now like he doesn't even get to see what any of that's like because he I guess technically he died in that. I don't know. Like he had to live that whole life to get to that probe thing and like having to worry about kids that didn't exist, having to worry about grandkids that didn't exist, having to worry about a wife that didn't exist. Like, I feel like that's kind of a form of torture. It's
yeah.
terrible.
Well, yeah,
It's,
it wasn't torture until after he realized it wasn't real, I guess you could say. So,
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, here's your whole life. Sorry, that wasn't real. Go back to this life now and pretend like nothing happened. Like, except here's a flute. It's like I lived a whole other life and all I got was this stupid flute. He
so
needs a t-shirt.
oh, before we go too far,
Mm.
point out someone else pointed out I didn't catch this until the show effort. He was wearing hammer pants.
Yeah.
I
The
never saw
pants
that
of
until
the
I saw it.
future and the past, apparently.
Yes. So,
Oh,
so
jeez.
But I was watching another review before we did ours, and that's the person. So,
Hammer pants, totally.
so, so anyways, as the story goes on, he meets I forget what the character's
You
name
know,
is.
he's
He assumes the life.
Aline or something. Ellen starts
Is
with
it?
an E. Eileen, something like that.
Actually, I was referring to his name in the story. I'm sorry.
Oh, his name is Cayman. Cayman.
Cayman. Thank you, Cayman. So he assumes the role of Cayman. So Cayman is the person that was responsible for creating this whole probe in the first place. They explain that
Mm-hmm.
at the very end of the show. So so basically, you're seeing his life. So basically, as the story progresses, at first he doesn't accept it. But as you
Mm-hmm.
point out, at 5 years on, he's gradually accepting it, and
Yeah.
that's when he starts to realize that this is his life, which is kind of interesting. Is he basically a combination of Picard and the other character at that point, or is he
I'm
just
not
Picard?
sure. Like, I don't know if like this was a person that actually existed or like I'm imagining because like I don't know how this technology would work. Did like it create a family from his mind? Is this a person that actually lived and created this probe? Because like how is that possible? Like did they pre-make all of the choices for him? Like is this a full fictional thing or any of these people actually real? Because it seems like these people were real in the beginning, but like I is it like I don't know. There's a there was a TV, there's a movie, something about a train and Jake Gyllenhaal or something where he could jump into other people's minds or something, and he like took over this one guy and lived his life, and nobody said anything about it. But it's literally like he killed the guy that whose body he's inhabiting. But like this, like I don't know, it's like a memory, but he's
Mhm.
still interacting with it and causing different things to happen, even though the outcome is sort of the same. Like are
Right.
those the kids that he would have had if he actually was with this woman? Are those the kids that this person who he is like taking over? I'm not sure
Yeah, it's a good
how
point.
that would work.
I always assumed of course, I'm assuming. You should
Mm,
never do that first, but I assumed that it was that those are the kids that the original character had with the originals with the wife and everything. But
mm.
yeah, you're right. I don't know. We don't. They never explain. So you're absolutely right. We don't know. So
Source Code. That's the Jake Gyllenhaal movie, Source Code.
yeah.
So he
And
like
also,
takes over this dude's brain and nobody talks about it at all because he's just this is him now, not the other guy. So the other guy's just dead. So like I don't know. That was so weird. But
there's a
this, like, I don't know.
there's a TV show with John Lithgow, Third Rock.
Mhm. Oh yeah, Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, when
Good
they
stuff.
when they take over the people's bodies. I've never really watched. I've only seen like one or two episodes, but
I guess I didn't realize that. I've never seen like how that show started. I just kind of assumed that was their human forms.
yeah, they actually inhabited a family, so they're actually
Oh, so they literally like straight up like let's come live in this house and murder this family and wear their faces? That's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. I guess but it's a comedy though, so you can excuse it since it's a comedy. I guess you could say.
Yeah, I guess.
But if it's a drama, it would be kind of bad, But for comedy, you can overlook that kind of silly stuff. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
uh, okay, so as time goes on, we get to learn. He becomes a there's his friend Batai, and as the culture expands. Oh, another review I watched suggested, what if the and kind of in relation with what you were saying,
Mhm.
do these people look like human beings because Picard is a human being? Did the program adapt to make them look like human beings?
Very good
Maybe
point.
maybe they look like something else, and they just we have no idea what they actually look like. So
Yeah, that's very good point. Like these clothes are pretty flowy. You could fit a bunch of different shapes under there.
yeah. So, we don't know. It's all up to your interpretation, I guess, at this point, how this went.
Hmm.
But so Bataille, this is his friend Bataille. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. They're talking about, the town and he's been here for I think he's already been there for 5 years at this point now, right?
right,
Or
5 years.
yeah. So
So
he's
they're
like
talking
trying
about
to like figure out civilization and all that kind of stuff. And I liked how they were also talking about like a drought and water rations and stuff, but I kept seeing a lot of plants everywhere. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a drought kind of a thing. And then, oh, I
That's a
didn't
good
even
point.
see this part. How did I miss this? Him walking out and around.
Yeah, this is still near the beginning where he's walking. You explain because he's
Huh.
trying to figure out where he's at. So yeah, this
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I missed him walking up the mountain.
Oh, okay. The interesting thing, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but this scene right here, um,
Mm-hmm.
first there's a newer like I guess 4K release or something of this, and for some
Mm-hmm.
reason they redid this whole scene. The river looks completely different. I don't have it. I saw it. I don't have it on queued up or anything, but for they
Mm-hmm.
why I don't know why they would change it. What the significance of changing the river was about, but they changed the river and some of the other aspects of it in the newer version for reasons that they felt were better. I don't know. So it's just kind of interesting that there's why would you change things on a show? The show look, if you're just here's for me, I'd rather see the original show. I don't mind the better clarity, but I don't want them to change anything. I would rather keep it the way
Right, right.
the broadcast. So if they change the river, which looked completely different, what else did they
Hmm.
change that would the way the show was originally made?
Right,
Unless
right. So even on Netflix, the river looks the same. I just pulled it up to look.
oh, did you?
It
Okay.
looks the same on Netflix as it does here, but yeah.
And the other thing I noticed on the comparison video, that when you look at the newer one, the 4K release, the color is more a little bit
Hmm.
slightly more vibrant throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, they usually do that with
So in
newer
this one,
release things and stuff. But yeah, I was thinking about like there seems to be kind of a lot of vegetation for them to say like there's a drought, and then I realized it was because later they wanted such a dramatic difference in the dead vines and dirt and stuff in the whole city area.
mhm. So let's
But
see. Yeah,
honestly,
then
on
that
that
one
hill, it
scene.
was really funny of how fake that all was to me. Like,
Before we go too far, that tree that they were planting was to be in defiance of the droughts or something to
yeah,
that effect.
yeah. So it was
This
everybody
tree.
is sharing like their water rations to keep the tree alive because it represents hope, which makes sense.
Hmm. So, all right. So as we go along, we learned that he's now
Maybe
accepting.
it wasn't
Well, actually,
5 years yet.
he's
Was it?
we're not actually 5 years in yet. This is still him on the
Mm,
first day. So
okay, okay, yeah.
so he comes back and the wife, his now wife, I guess you could say, is
Yeah,
to explain
because
explain to who he
hmm
is or his persona that he assumed, I guess you could say. She's
hmm
explaining that person came in as. So
she showed him the flute and everything, and now they're all worried about the beam coming from the probe thing and what it's doing to him. And this guy wants to just shut it off and destroy the beam. And the doctor's like, we can't do that. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what it's going to do.
right, gives the example: you don't pull a knife out of a wound, just
Yeah, yeah.
because it could cause more damage. So
Hmm.
yeah. So we go on. I think this is the 5 year point. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I
So
think you can usually tell by, I don't remember how he said her name. Eileen, Ellen,
yeah. What was her name?
Eileen.
Let
It's
me bring it up
spelled
here.
Eline, so it's like
Oh, okay.
Aline or Eileen or whatever. I'm not sure how they pronounced it as well. But you
Okay.
can tell by her hair. Her hair gets, like, gradually longer because it was short at first, and now it's, like, longer. So now it's been 5 years, and she's like, "You're still talking about your ship and everything," and now he's kind of like, "Yeah, and now I'm just kind of accepting this is actually my life."
Right. Yeah, and he's and to point out here, his hair is also longer too. So
Yeah, he doesn't need to let it grow, but he does. They wanna make time pass, and whew, that looks bad. After a while, it looks real crazy. He's got a half bald Doc Brown status by the end.
right. So all right. So he's going on as the yeah. This is we learned this is the I forget what this guy's
Council
position.
member or
Yeah, he's
something.
one of the high ups of whatever of the thing. Yeah. So
Mhm.
and this is the first time that Picard, as Kamen, decides to take an interest in the community. He steps up and so
Yeah, yeah.
and Bataille says, "Well, I've never seen you do that before. So nice to have you take part in the community or something to that
Well,
effect."
I think he doesn't say it's nice. I've never seen you do that before. I think this is specific to this time. It's he's saying you haven't done that in a while. So I think it's like
Oh, okay.
it's been a while since he's taken that interest, and it's nice to see that happening again, is what he said, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
All righty. So we go on. Who's this? That's his friend. Okay. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's
So he's
whistling.
having drinks with Bataille, and they try to establish the shoe thing for his wife's last words to try and make it cute, but I wasn't a fan. She's like,
Wait,
"Oh,
wait.
you have to put your shoes away. You have to put your shoes away." Like the whole episode, it's like become one of his idiosyncrasies that he never puts his shoes in the right spot.
Oh, yeah, I did notice. I guess I didn't pay attention to that. I did. I know she was saying that, but I never really paid close attention. So you're
Yeah.
saying
Well, I
so
mean,
basically it's
go
like a
ahead.
joke of some kind? How would you describe what's going on then? 'Cause I guess
Yeah, it's just one of his personality quirks that he always leaves his shoes everywhere and never puts his shoes away. So she's constantly like picking up his shoes and putting his shoes away, and like her dying words to him are, "Don't forget to put your shoes away."
Oh, I didn't even catch
And
that. That's weird.
yeah, and I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, I feel like you could have done something with music. You could have done something a little more powerful than "Don't forget to put your shoes away." But that's how she dies. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of those being her last words. I
Yeah.
mean, it was cute and I get it, but at the same time, like, meh.
Yeah. All right. So as time goes along, he talks. Is this where he says he wants to build something, and he says, I want to build a whatever for the child, for the first child. I forget what he wanted to build
A
something for their
nursery, a nursery.
nursery.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
because he's been building all sorts of stuff, and she's like, "I want your permission to build something," and she's like, "You don't need my permission. You've already built this and this and this," and he's like, "For this, I do. I want to build a nursery," and she's
Mhm.
like, "Oh,
Yeah. And then they're all happy. That's in the next scene we get to see. Oh, of course. Well, the scene where this is where they're talking about the war from the left. He said he's being attacked, and Riker says, "I
mm-hmm.
agree with you." They're both in agreement. But then I think this is where that's where the doctor says, where Crusher says, "No."
No, it's a little bit after." Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What is this?
Yeah,
Where
this is
Crusher?
the knife mark. This is the knife
Yeah,
part.
that's
Yeah,
what I was going to
that's
say.
you're right.
Where she makes the comment about pulling the knife out. So, oh, in case you're wondering, with Riker, his name is Jonathan Frakes is the actor. In case you're wondering why he's always leaning and putting his arms on things and putting his legs on things, it's because he has a bad back in real life.
Hmm,
So he's always putting his foot up on something, or his leg or his arm up on something because he has a bad back. So
that's
that's
interesting.
I didn't learn that until very recently. So if you watch the show enough, you'll notice he'll put his foot up on a lot of things. It's so common that people do a drinking game. Is when is he going to put his foot up on on a console or something? He has to support
Ah,
his weight. So it's anyway. Let's see.
interesting. Yeah, so that reminds me of have you ever seen the Andy Griffith Show?
Yes, I have. Uh-huh.
So the barber there, the guy that played Floyd.
Yes, I know what you're going to say. He was in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
right?
No, well, yeah, he had a stroke and it affected his ability to stand. So instead of trying to, work around that, they had him sitting the last few seasons. So after his stroke, you can see he's always sitting down.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
now. Yes, that's pretty cool. Well, not
Yeah.
cool for him. Yeah, but cool.
Right, right. But it's cool that they worked around him and worked with him. And
Hmm.
then you see that they have a baby here, even though he's a little old to have a baby, and it's fine. I don't know how old he actually is, but he looks pretty old. And then you see another little girl, and this is where you could see like the dramatics of there's no plants, it's all just dirt and dead and everything. And they already have a little girl, and yeah.
Yes.
Now this is their son, who they named after his deceased best friend Bataille. So he's already lost people in this crazy, horrible fantasy world.
Right. That brings the question up: is he fully Picard, or is this program controlling his decision making too?
I
So,
don't know. I would imagine it would have to be controlling his decision-making skills because a scientist like Picard would never bring children into a world that's dying. That's going to die in his lifetime. This world is dying. It's not like some far off eventuality like our planet probably got a few hundred years left. This planet is dying in his lifetime. He will see it die.
right.
And I don't think that Picard himself would bring a child into that, let
Good point.
alone two.
Right. So, alrighty. So we come here. We got more. I don't remember what she said exactly. If there's anything significant to this scene.
Yeah, no,
Um,
just basically they try to sever the connection with the probe and it causes him to go into like cardiac arrest and
oh,
stuff.
that's right. Yeah, because in this scene right here, he starts to stumble. Yeah, right there, because
Yeah,
they're
he starts to stumble in the thing because they're trying to pull his connection. So he's like dying prematurely, which will apparently kill him in real life. So it's not like he doesn't get a choice at all about this. If they try to pull the probe away, it would literally kill him. So like it's another aspect of, this planet forcing their wants and wishes onto somebody else. Hmm.
as they come over here, and we can see she's gotten older. She's
Mm-hmm.
questioning. I mean, he's really old.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. He's got nice liver spots and everything, giving me some
so
old man
and
vibes.
he's telling her she that they're both he raised her to be very scientific, and he makes eventually he makes the comment about seizing the day, and so I can't
Hmm.
remember the scene where he says it, because he's talking about,
Yeah.
why don't you be with that young man, of that whatever young man that she was with, and she says, I think I will marry him, or something to that effect,
Yeah, yeah. And she's like, yeah. So
which
at
is
first she puts him off and then she's like, yeah, I think I will marry him. And he's like, you need to live now. And although I feel like the you need to live now shouldn't apply to having grandkids, because him having kids was borderline messed up. Her having kids is definitely messed up. Like you're
right.
literally bringing your kid into a world that has no water. Why would you do that? Why?
Well, the other thing I find a little odd. I mean, it's something that's. I mean, the you would if he wouldn't say it to his son that his son should get married, but he says it to his daughter. Like the daughter,
Well,
like,
I think the daughter had a significant other already. Like she has this relationship with this person. His
okay,
son, I don't think didn't give any indication that his son had a relationship with anybody.
okay,
But he does push him to follow his passion into music rather than staying in school for no reason because the planet's gonna die. What's the point of going to school?
uh,
Yeah.
okay. So I thought they were going into that thing where like women need to be married kind of a thing, but I guess you're
Mm.
right. So
No, I didn't see it that way in this. Yeah.
all right, so
They get
is
him
it
stabilized. Doctor is like, told you this wouldn't be a good idea. And now they're trying to figure out other ways around it
all right?
and trying to
So
figure out where it's from and all that jazz.
mhm.
And now even more time has passed
He's got a big telescope. He's looking
that
into
he made, by the way. So like all of this stuff that he made, like it gives you some insight on how like smart he is and how good at all of this he actually is.
Mhm.
So like that
And
was cool.
now this character this
Hmm.
character right here is his son, and there's
Yeah.
the interesting thing, I didn't know this until today, that this is Patrick Stewart's real life son, in case you're wondering.
Huh, that's cool.
So, and I looked it up on IMDb, and now he's just as bald as his dad is today.
Oh, that's gotta be upsetting. I'm very happy that everybody in my family has had beautiful hair.
Oh,
Men,
well,
women, everybody. Beautiful
we
hair right up to the end.
so for me, it's I'm the only one in my family that's losing their hair. So, so
Oh, no.
so my dad has more hair on top of his head than I do right now. So,
Oh. At least you didn't see it coming? I don't know. I don't know what's worse.
so,
Hmm.
the my best friend has also pointed out that he's losing his hair. He's kind of like family, but we're not related, but he is like
Right,
family.
right.
So anyway, we're this is where you're talking about that scene where he is the son is talking about
Yeah, quitting
music.
school and following his passion of music, and Picard's like, "Last year your passion was math, and before that it was this, and before that it was this. Why do you think your passion's music all of a sudden?" And he's like, "Dad, it's always been music. It's always been there through all of the other things that I've been doing." And then he finally like relents because he's like, "Well, the planet's dying, so go live your passion or whatever you want to do. Like, go for it." Because again, planet's gonna die. It doesn't really matter to stay in school if the planet's gonna be dead. So who cares?
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that he was doing that because of that though, or do
Oh,
you think
100%. He was like, follow your passion. You don't have much time left for it. Like, go do
okay?
it.
All right, so
This
this is
is the.
the council guy again. So
Mm-hmm.
and the council reveals to him that their scientists knew all along, or for the past 2 years
For
anyway, not all
past
along.
2 years, yeah, that the
Right.
planet is dying. Like, we know, but we can't do anything about it, so should we just panic people? What are we gonna do?
Right.
And, like, yeah,
So and that's when he decides he needs to preserve the history. So this is where that was.
somehow, yeah, so that's just where they come up with the probe. Oh, and here's where his wife dies, because you
Yes.
couldn't have your wife live happily ever after with you in your fantasy world. She has to die first. Like, what was the point of that? She didn't have to die. I mean, I guess if this was somebody's real life that they slipped him into somehow and like controlled his, like decision making skills somehow, which I don't know how they could have done that, then this woman actually died in real life. I don't know.
Mhm.
But then she's like, so then it brings to mind the question of like, when did they come up with the idea for this probe thing? How did they get the younger version of herself back for the whole end sequence there? Like, did they film that at some point? Were they able to
Well,
create it with like AIs? Like, how did that come about?
yeah, well, there was like, yeah, there was like some sort of, yeah, like I would say it was like it was. I don't think it was filmed, but I think it was basically or recorded or whatever. It was basically just it was an interactive program of some kind that was
Yeah.
interacting with Picard. So that's my interpretation anyway.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
so all right. So yeah, she dies, and then we see that the things are getting worse. They have to wear protection on themselves all the time because the
Yeah.
sun is, the planet's dying. Uh,
Hmm.
there's this is that was that
It's
the
his
sun or was that
grandson. I
that's
think
was
I'm assuming that that would my thought was that that was his like son-in-law, but it
okay? I wasn't sure.
could be
Okay,
his son. I don't know. I assumed it was the son-in-law.
okay. So and that's his grandchild right there playing, and he's upset because
Yeah.
his grandchild's not going to live to
Yeah,
be.
he's not gonna get a life. He's not gonna be able to live happily ever after. Like, which is like, why would she have chosen to have a child? Like, it's bad enough her parents chose to have her. Like, come on, girl. It's so
Mhm.
screwed up. And she just seems to be like chill about it. Like, this is how the world is. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And he's
Yeah,
got like a little bit of Alzheimer's. He's like, does everybody know about this probe but me? And she's like, Dad, you know about it. Giving us a
right,
little, you know, old man dementia kind of vibes here.
right. And we, of course, we never get to see the fact that he's the one that created it. According to her, he did, but we never actually see that happen. So, yeah. And the rocket when it launches, as they said at the beginning of the show, it has um, with it runs on a fuel. It's like a fuel rocket of some, and that's why it
Mm,
looks like a conventional rocket that we would use today, rather than like a space rocket or like a futuristic rocket. So,
mm.
that,
And then,
and
yeah, all these people come back and are talking to him, like, we want you to carry on, we will live on in you, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like, okay, that cool. You could have done that with a series of videotapes that would have ended up in a museum rather than taking over someone's whole life and not giving them a choice about it. And it just feels so mean.
so many, yes. And like I said, the Ronald D. Moore said that, yeah, he wasn't thinking that far ahead when he wrote the story. It was more about Picard experiencing this rather than the idea of how would this actually affect him long term. So he completely ignored that aspect. And like I said with Ronald D. Moore, he can be a good writer, but sometimes he doesn't think all the way through. Sometimes, unfortunately. So
He doesn't think through the trauma he's creating for his characters.
yes,
And then that also means he doesn't have the characters respond appropriately to trauma, because like this experience should have changed him profoundly. Like he should have been reacting to situations differently. And do you think that is the case from this episode, or does he like go back to being normal after the night
it's
in the
pretty
next
much like
episode?
it's like what they say that the reset button was hit. He pretty much goes back to normal after that.
Yeah,
It's
so like that, he just spent an entire lifetime. Like he was there for at least like 25, 40 years maybe.
yeah,
So like
someone
living 40 years in 20 minutes, that it's not going to fade. That should definitely have affected him in the storyline. Like,
right. Yeah, you're right. It did, and they never, except for the fact they brings up the flute in in one other episode, it really never. Yeah, I think they might bring it. They might have brought it up, and there's a new show called Star Trek Picard. They might have shown the flute, but that was just for not. But there was no significance to that. So I'm
Yeah, it should have like, because like he should have PTSD from this shit. He had a whole family and now they're just gone and he has to live with that. Like, come on.
right, exactly. So all right, so he's trying to get back to. He's trying to remember that things
Yeah,
work.
like yeah, saying who these people are and like
Mm-hmm. And
I
there's
feel like after 40 some odd years, you probably forget how to do a few things,
well, he does
Like,
show he does what they do, like what they you're right, but they don't overemphasize on it. Like he walks up to the door and he kind of jumps back because it opens on its own. He does he forgets that it does that. So
yeah.
and then when he's in this room, he has to remember how to, like when there's a door chime. He has to remember
Yeah,
how
he
to,
doesn't know what the chime meant yet at
yeah,
first. Okay, yeah.
so he does. They do a little bit. They do that. So he did.
But only in this episode,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they just never touch it again. Like, not
Yeah.
a fan of that.
So yeah, you're right. So yeah, they did need to. It would have been better if they'd fully explored it a little bit better there. So
Yeah, because like you should have at least had a decompressor episode, like to just get him to like, reacclimated to the ship or something, and like how profoundly it affects him. Like have him randomly play the flute here and there. I don't know. I feel like this isn't a one-off thing that you can just say this happened, moving on to the next. Like this is such a huge thing to have happened to a person,
right,
and I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they don't give it more weight than this.
right, and you bring up a very good point, because there was another episode where he got. Do you know who the Borg are? Have you ever heard of the Borg?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
there's an episode where he's captured by the Borg and turned into a Borg, and then he's rescued and turned back into human again. And there's actually a whole episode where he's given time to recover because of that. So
Oh, so like he's a Borg for a day and they give him a whole episode to recover from that, but he has a family for 40 or 50 years and they're like, nah, you're fine, let's move on like nothing happened. Cool,
yeah,
cool, cool,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Jeez.
so yeah,
Interesting.
you're right. He would, in fact, he should probably, based on that, he should probably technically be relieved of command for a
Yeah,
while.
he should
Yeah,
be. He should
yeah,
not have command. He's been out of the game for like 40 years. Dude
yeah.
needs some training.
So, and eventually he could probably come back, because physically physically he'd still be the same. So he
Yeah, but
just
like he needs some therapy and at least like
Mhm.
give the poor man some therapy here.
Right. So, and the other show I told you about, where the another character was sent to prison for what he thought was 20 years, which was only a few minutes.
Yeah,
They
and dude has PTSD from that.
Yeah. So that they really actually, that episode was how he dealt with it, but after that they never really dealt with it ever again either. So they kind of the
Yeah, I like how story development is done and now more now. I mean, back then it was kind of easy to do like episodic things. Like it was once a week at most, so like they could, let the audience decompress and forget for a week of what just happened last week. And if you don't give the audience a previously on, then, they're not going to remember as much and it's not going to have, I don't think, the impact that it would have of binge watching a show. Like, well, in the last episode 5 that I watched 5 minutes ago, he had this traumatic thing, and now 5 minutes later in this next episode, he's totally fine again. So like I feel like that week space of, programming happening once a week at most, and like I don't know how often this show aired. Some shows, didn't air even that, reliably. There could have been like a 2-week break from this episode to the next episode to give people, time to move past this traumatic experience for
it,
this character. So like I think that also helped then.
mm,
And now writing has to be a lot more conscious of streaming, of people binging things, to know like they're going to pick up every single detail of something because people are going to watch these shows over and over and over again. People are going to expect the first episode to tie into the last episode and have it all arc beautifully. Like with shows that, episodic shows like this that used to be on, they didn't have to worry about that so much. or at all.
Well, I will say this show was not. They would bring back certain things
Hmm.
periodically, so it wasn't like
Right.
they were.
Yeah, it wasn't like they had nothing, I'm sure, but like
They
there's a
didn't. They
lot
were
more little details nowadays that they need to keep up with that, streaming puts a strain on.
right. If you give an example, like this is an extreme example, but like the TV show The Dukes of Hazzard, every show was completely separate. Nothing carried over from episode to episode. So I watched that show when I was a kid. So nothing carried over. It was always like the reset button, so to speak, was reset
Yeah.
every single time. This one, there were things that carried over. So, but you're right, they didn't carry this over, and it probably would have been. They probably could have focused more on that if they had. And it has some pretty decent stories to show how
Yeah.
he was still recovering or something to that effect.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure there's probably like, fan fictions of it and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Fan fictions of everything.
So, all right. So that's the episode. So as far as based on what you're saying, it sounds like you probably don't like it because of what that. I'm guessing. Well,
I mean, it it's good for what it is. It did make me cry when he got the flute, but it also made me angry that they made him go through all of this. And I'm not a fan of the fact that it's never mentioned again.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can understand. When I watch it, I never I knew it. I thought about that, but I just put it in the back of my head. I just never thought of. I just
Yeah,
never.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I remember watching the show when it was new. In case you're wondering, you said how often it was on. It was on every week. They would have weekly shows, and they were pretty
Right.
consistent. So this was back when they had almost 30 episodes a season. So it was
Yeah.
so the breaks were not like nowadays. We're only like 10 episodes a season, and like shows go on break
Mhm.
like a year or two before they come back on again. So these are more
Mhm.
consistent. So, but yeah, yeah, you're right. That is a problem, and Ronald D. Moore did address it after the fact.
Okay, okay. At
But
least
you're
he
right.
like owns up to yeah, owns up to the mistakes that he made with it.
Well, but he'll keep on doing the same things over and over again. That's why. So
So like I did bad, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay,
is
thanks,
he,
bye.
he was him and a guy named David Icke were the main showrunners for Battlestar Galactica, which I really liked.
Mm,
But as the show progressed, the
yeah, it fell off.
yeah, and he would go back and try to change things, and it was like, well, wait a minute, that kind of contradicts what happened earlier on, and it makes the earlier shows not really that good, and it's like it made me really angry. In fact, I hate the fourth season of Battlestar Galactica so much.
Yeah.
So it's
I
the first
remember
two
being
seasons
like
I love.
so into it in the beginning, and the end I was just like, what's happening now?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So, but and but yeah, it's he that's what the problem. That's the problem with him. He can be good, but he just decides not to. I don't know how to describe it. He's lacking in certain areas. He can be really good, but he just lacks in certain areas like this. So, um, I think he's focusing on he wants to get a certain element across, and he doesn't care what the other aspects are. He just wants to focus on that one element, and all the other things that don't make any sense. He ignores. He expects other people to ignore it as well. I guess is the best way to put it. So, overall, what would you give the show? How would you rate this show? This episode?
Hmm. Well, it's got a lot of good technical stuff, and the writing is pretty good. The emotion's not great that I felt the anger about. So I don't know, like 6 out of 10.
Okay. Okay. And I think I said this. This is either the highest
Yeah,
rated
it's yeah.
or one of the highest rated shows of all time for this series. That is. So, in fact,
Hmm.
when they give when they pick the best Star Trek episodes of all time, like all the Star Trek shows, this often appears at the top 10 as one of the top 10 shows.
Hmm.
So, I'm not trying to say it to influence your
No,
decision.
no, yeah, no. It's just interesting to me that this is this
So,
is one of the best episodes. Like I just wish it had more weight. If it had more weight, I would have been able to rate it higher, but it doesn't, like the episode itself has a lot of weight, but the fact that it has no weight in the rest of the season, the series, I'm not a fan cuz like this is a profound experience for somebody to go through and for it
right.
to just, for them to just hit the reset button next week. Not a fan of that.
And I will bring up the fact that when Picard was turned into a Borg, the second movie the Next Generation movie, they actually went back to that whole thing about him being turned into the Borg, and he had to go through a little bit of a psychological aspect. I don't know if you saw the second movie. It's called Star Trek First
No.
Contact. He had to go through the whole thing again about him being turned into a Borg. So
I'm sorry. How long was he a Borg?
like about one episode. So and so like it was maybe at the most maybe a week, at the most maybe a few days. I don't know.
Oh my god! Is it so terrible? Was it so horrible to be a Borg?
It took over his mind. They were controlling him essentially. So he was out of.
I mean, I guess mind control is tough, but gee whiz. You would think this would have had more of an effect on his life. So yeah, no, I'm going to stand by my rating. If it had more weight on the rest of the series and him as a character, I probably would have rated it higher. But as it is,
I'm going to go with a 9 on this one for me. So I still agree with what you're saying, but I'm still going to stick with it because I'm going to ignore that aspect for my rating. I'm not saying I'm ignoring it though. I'm just saying for my rating.
For your rating. Okay.
But I agree with you're 100% correct. I'm not denying that. And like I said before, I was always putting it in the back of my head. I just knew it was there, but I just didn't really think about it. I just focused on the story itself. So the actual his progression through what he was going through. You're right. He was brought in there against his will, forced to do this, and the whole thing. So, but you're right. I'm kind of leaving that out just for my rating. So,
okay.
But, okay. So, and you said you've seen a few episodes. Is that correct? You saw I don't know how many you saw
of Star Trek.
Yes. As far as,
just a few random ones. I would have no idea.
Okay, so you couldn't compare it to this one.
No, no.
Okay. Did you know the original Star Trek, the very last episode that aired in 1969 of the original series? I don't know if you know this. The plot of the episode was that a woman goes crazy and takes over the mind of Captain Kirk, and the reason why she does that is because women were not allowed to be captains in the original Star Trek. I don't know if you know. Which is really what people often criticize that heavily because Star Trek was so progressive.
Right. Yeah. It's like in the future and women still can't do stuff. Like, come on.
Yeah. And not only that, but it was the very last episode. We're not talking early on, but the very, very last episode that ever aired. So later on, they corrected. They went back and they ignored that episode. They'd act like it never happened, essentially. So
okay.
like there's another prequel series called Star Trek Enterprise that takes place 100 years before that, and there is clearly a female captain in that one. So they're trying. They try to make up.
Trying to erase that.
Yeah.
Erase the fact that happened.
Yeah, it was really stupid that it doesn't make any sense. In this series, that's why Doctor's a female, because Gene Roddenberry was trying to make up for that kind of stuff. So trying to make it more diverse. As the shows progressed, they eventually got Star Trek Voyager, which had a female captain. I don't know if you know that. So Captain Janeway's.
Yeah.
But I always bring that up as one of the most archaic things you could say. It's how can you say that about in a Star Trek episode? And the only excuse you can give is the fact that Gene Roddenberry was actually forced out during that last season. And there was actually a lot of people say the third season of that show was actually really bad anyway. So, so it was written by another group of people. He was not really in control at that point. So, but anyway, so let's, we go bring up our,
let's check our question. I'd be interested to see if we got any kind of response on that.
My mouse gets stuck. Hold on. All right. So what we got here?
Ooh, bottle episode, killing it. Yeah.
77%.
No comments yet.
No comments at all. So let's see. 77 with bottle episode. What's the next one down? It's a tie with alternate life experiences and crossover
episodes.
5% with your choice. Leave a comment, and then 4% with a musical episode. Interesting.
Bottle episode for the win. Yes, my favorite. Cool.
I will say there's an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where there's a bottle episode. I think it follows in that category.
Okay.
Picard is captured and he's interrogated, and it's just him and one other character throughout most of the episode. Well, kind of a bottle episode. It's just there are some other scenes that are thrown in there, but him and one other character interrogates him, and he's tortured essentially for quite.
Okay.
That would be another life.
See, there's one called Disaster. The episode called Disaster is in this listed as a bottle episode.
Okay.
Remember Me. Um,
Okay, that's the first season one. Yeah, that's
yeah. And then
that's
this one's Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Enterprise. Yeah, I don't see another one from TNG.
I mean, it might not be considered a bottle episode technically. I don't
Mm,
know because there
yeah,
were some scenes that were thrown in there where they were not. So maybe it's not. But the scenes with him and the other person that section could be considered a bottle episode, I guess.
yeah.
So, but
So
but
disaster stories, disaster. Many of the Enterprise crew have to get resourceful with only the tools they have to save the ship to stay alive and deliver Kiko's baby.
right. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was like three stories going on at the same time. Is that really considered a bottle episode? Because
Yeah,
there were definitely
that's what it says.
there were three distinct stories going on. That were like what happened was it was called disaster because there was a major malfunction and like the people got locked out of different parts of the ship. So like they
Hmm.
would show these three different sections of the ship where the people had to work their way and survive essentially.
Yeah, so they were all isolated in 3 different spots. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So
guess that could work.
okay. Alrighty. So
Yeah. So I know we were going to talk about Lovesick next week, but have you ever seen The Orville?
oh yeah.
Since I
Yeah.
know you have seen that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then we can talk about Lovesick since you've already seen The Orville.
Oh, okay. So you want to do Lovesick? You definitely
I
want to do.
mean, we can talk about Orville if you want. I just was thinking if you had never seen it, that would be fun.
Oh, I've seen all the. I don't know. Has the new season started? I don't know if they
I
started.
don't know when that starts.
But when it was on Fox, I know they pulled it off Fox and they were going to run it on. I don't know if the new
It's on
season.
Hulu, I think. Yeah,
Let
Hulu.
me see what's.
No, only 2 seasons are out right now. Let's see. Season 3, it's coming eventually.
Yeah, it's been a while. Put it on hold for a long time. So
yeah, a long time.
I'm bringing it up here. Hold on a second. There we go. There we go, right there. So
It says 3, but I don't know when season 3 will be.
June.
June. Okay.
So okay. So I'm not, yeah. I have seen all the episodes so far though. So
Cool. Something we've both seen.
Okay. So you've seen so how would you rate the show? Do you say you like it? Would you
Oh yeah. I think it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, because this show is done in the spirit of the Next Generation, the Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically like imagine if you saw these shows, this is essentially almost identically how the Next Generation show was produced. It really is. Because Seth MacFarlane was a huge Star Trek fan, so he wanted to keep that kind of style going. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So,
I wish they would have like given him license to do this in the Star Trek world. That would have been really cool, but I get that. Like, they couldn't.
Yeah, and the from what I understand, the reason he's able to do this and get away without like, there's no legal aspects, like they can't sue him, is because it's technically a parody. So because they do comedy, so because the comedy element, they can't sue apparently.
Right.
If it wasn't
I
comedy,
imagine they probably wouldn't. I don't know if they want to or anything, because like it's not making fun of Star Trek itself. I don't think it's making fun of Star Trek. I think it's like embracing the humor side of it, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely not making fun of it at all. No, it's definitely no. So yeah, it's having fun. It's like the movie, if you ever seen the movie in the late 90s, Galaxy Quest. Have you ever seen that?
Okay.
Yeah, have you ever seen Galaxy Quest?
I'm trying to think. I've heard of it, but I don't know if I've actually seen it.
Galaxy Quest is another show that it's in the movie. It's like this. It's like the Orville. If you like the Orville, you would like Galaxy Quest. It does the same thing. It takes Star Trek, and it's a lot of people consider it like a Star Trek movie too. So so if you like the Orville, I'd say you definitely like Galaxy Quest. It's very very smart, very intelligent type of a movie. I keep on calling it a show. So yeah. Alrighty, so yeah, what's the, so our viewers know, what is the, I'm sorry, what we're going to do once again? I'm sorry.
Lovesick.
Let me put this on here so I remember too. And we're going to review the first episode. Is that right?
Yeah, that doesn't look right.
No, that's not it. Sorry.
That's not it. Yeah.
Type it in again.
I don't see it on here. It might be one word.
Okay, let me do that.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Lovesick. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
okay.
TV show. Yep.
Okay, so we'll review this the first episode next week. Alrighty.
Yeah. First episode is Abigail. And yeah, this show, I believe I said this last time. I don't know if I said this when we were on or not. But I did say it to you. The show is originally titled Scrotal Recall because it's about this guy. He finds out he has an STD, so he has to go back through and talk with all of the women that he slept with. So each episode is him telling a different woman, and it like goes through his story of how he was with these people, and it goes through the story of how like of his life now and like what this is doing to him and his two friends and everything. And it's really, I love this show. It's so good. But Netflix caught so much crap for calling it Scrotal Recall that the name was changed to Lovesick. Because I remember when I first saw the title of it, I watched it because everybody was ragging on the title, and I was like, you know what, let me give it a try. And I was like, oh my God, this show is amazing. So like so many people were like tweeting about Netflix is trying to get me to watch a show called Scrotal Recall. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm not going to watch this. Netflix, what is this? So I was finally like, you know what? Let me give this poor show a try. And I was like, okay, unfortunate name, fantastic show.
So would you put it up there with like the other shows you recommended? I told you I like Ted Lasso. I think it's a really good show. Would you put it up at the same level as Ted Lasso as far as?
It's a different kind of show. I would put it with New Girl.
Okay.
It's more of that kind of a show. I don't know how you're gonna feel about it exactly, because I don't know. I feel like you might like it more than New Girl. It has a little more depth, I think. And there are only 3 seasons, so it's like one of those. It's a short show with a tight story, which I'm always a fan of that as well. A short show with a tight story, so there's no room for filler and nonsense episodes that don't mean anything or advance the story. So yeah, I like this.
It's a 24-minute show. Okay. So
it's a sitcom, half-hour sitcom thing.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, and OD, who's not on there, was always asking, wasn't on this show, yes, on another show, if we could actually do this. So I'm glad you did this because he likes us to actually say what the next show is so he can prepare for it. So,
oh yeah, good. Yes, very good. So yeah, watch the first episode of Lovesick if you can keep yourself to only watching one. But yeah, it's fun. And it's British, so it's nice listening to them talk.
Oh, do I need subtitles for this?
I don't know.
Okay. I think I told you when I watched Doctor Who back in the late 2000s, from 2005 to 2010, I had to have the subtitles on after a while.
Yeah. If you were all right watching Ted Lasso, you'll be all right watching this.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. And don't forget, everyone, if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have the link for NordVPN in the description below. And if you purchase that, that'll help fund what we're doing here. And did you want to promote your literacy?
Yeah, and if you are in the Hudson Valley area of New York, check out Literacy Connections in the Hudson Valley. You can donate your time. If you are anywhere else in the country, you can check us out on our website as well and donate if you have anything, or like and share us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Any little bit helps.
Right. And the links for NordVPN and Literacy Connections are both in the description below, so you can click on either directly. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.